Everyone expected her to fold. Cornelia Holm had years of experience, a ruthless ground game, and confidence that seemed unshakable. She looked at Dakota Ditcheva and saw nothing but a pretty face and raw talent. "She's too inexperienced," Holm said. "She won't survive 3 rounds with me." But Dakota wasn't there to survive. She was there to destroy. In 2022, Dakota Ditcheva entered the Professional Fighters League, known worldwide as the PFL. Born in Manchester, England, and carrying Bulgarian heritage, Dakota wasn't a typical newcomer. She had been trained in martial arts from a very young age by her mother, Lisa Howarth, who was once a world champion in Muay Thai. That lineage gave Dakota a head start most fighters could only dream of. But legacy alone cannot win you fights, especially not in the PFL, where rising stars get chewed up fast. From the moment Dakota stepped into the smart cage, her mission was clear: shock the world. And that's exactly what she did. Her debut was a thunderous first-round knockout. Her second appearance brought another knockout in under a minute. Her striking was fierce, her movement sharp, and her eyes focused. She didn't talk much, but her fists did all the talking. The whispers started quickly. Was she the next big thing? Could she become the face of women's MMA? With each knockout, the hype grew louder. 1 year later, Dakota entered the PFL Europe tournament. This was no exhibition. The stakes were high: 100,000 pounds, and a title that could change her career. Critics still doubted her. They said she hadn't faced real competition, that she was being protected, that the moment she fought someone experienced, she would be exposed. Dakota heard it all, and she didn't care. Her first test came against Malin Hermansson, a Swedish veteran known for her durability. Analysts predicted a striking war, but Dakota had other plans. Early in the fight, she shocked everyone by taking it to the ground. She slipped behind Hermansson and cinched in a rear naked choke with surgical precision. It was her first career submission, and it was flawless. This wasn't just a win, it was a message. Dakota wasn't just a striker, she was evolving. The crowd in London erupted as Hermansson tapped. Dakota stood calmly. No celebration, no showboating, just quiet domination. Next up was Cornelia Holm in Paris. A bruising grappler from Sweden, Holm had a reputation for breaking opponents, literally. Her submissions were ruthless, her ground game was dangerous, and she had zero respect for Dakota. Holm dismissed Dakota's record, calling her a highlight reel striker with no real depth. During the face-off, Holm leaned forward aggressively, eyes locked on Dakota, trying to break her mentally. But Dakota didn't flinch. She just stared back with that ice-cold calm she had become known for. From the opening bell, the arena was electric. Holm lunged forward early, diving for a takedown. She wrapped her arms around Dakota's legs and drove her to the cage wall. The crowd held its breath. But Dakota stayed composed. She stuffed the takedown, pushed Holm away, and unleashed a flurry of jabs and a leg kick. Holm tried again with the same result. Then, during a clinch, Dakota began throwing knees. Sharp, slicing knees to the ribs. Each one landed with a crack. Holm grunted and held on, trying to slow the momentum. Dakota didn't let her. Holm managed to drag the fight into the second round, but the tide was turning. Seconds into round 2, Dakota landed a clean right hand on the chin. Holm's legs wobbled. Her hands dropped. The crowd roared. Holm staggered but didn't fall. Dakota moved in like a shark. Left hook. Right straight. Holm clung to Dakota's body, desperate to buy time. Dakota then swept her off her feet, took her back, and threatened another rear naked choke. She locked in one hook, then two. She tightened the grip. But then she let go. She stood up and waved Holm back to her feet. The audience was stunned. Dakota wasn't just trying to win, she was trying to prove a point. Round 3 was the final blow. Dakota threw a perfect 1-2. Holm's head snapped back and her body crumbled. As she tried to rise, Dakota finished with a kick to the temple. The referee stepped in. It was over. In Dublin, Dakota faced Italy's Valentina Scatizzi. Confident, aggressive, and loud, Valentina tried to get under Dakota's skin. She called her overrated. She mocked her image. She said Dakota was a pretty blonde with soft hands. During their stare-down, Valentina yelled at Dakota. Dakota didn't say a word. She simply stared, pointed at the belt, and whispered, "Mine!" When the fight began, Valentina charged like a bull. She tried to overwhelm Dakota with pressure, but it didn't work. Dakota slipped, countered, and landed a front kick that stopped Valentina in her tracks. In the clinch, Dakota went to work. Her Muay Thai was on full display. Knees to the body. Knees to the head. Short elbows. Hooks on the break. Every time they separated, Dakota landed. Valentina attempted a takedown, but Dakota's hips stayed solid. She defended it effortlessly. Then came the turning point. Dakota landed a stiff right cross followed by a head kick. Valentina's eye began to swell rapidly. Dakota saw it and targeted it with precision. Jab, jab, cross, all aimed at that left eye. Blood began to pour. Valentina's vision was almost gone. Her body slowed. Dakota didn't. She unloaded knees, punches, and elbows. Every shot was clean. The doctor was called in between rounds. He shook his head. The fight was over. Dakota had won. Belt, money, glory, all of it. Taila Santos was different. She wasn't a regional champ. She wasn't a loudmouth. She was a world-class fighter who had nearly beaten Valentina Shevchenko in the UFC. Many thought Dakota had finally met her match. As the fight began, Dakota looked sharp. She opened with leg kicks, targeting Taila's lead leg. Santos tried to close the distance and clinch. Dakota fought off the takedown. Every exchange told a story. Dakota was faster, cleaner, smarter. In the second round, Dakota turned up the pace. She landed a brutal front kick to the body, followed by 2 hard knees up the middle. Taila was hurt. Her face said it all. Dakota stayed on her. Elbows from close range, hooks from a distance. Taila tried to shoot, but Dakota sprawled and punished her with uppercuts. By round 3, Taila had nothing left. Dakota walked her down, landed a spinning elbow, and dropped her. The referee waved it off. The crowd erupted. Fans screamed. Analysts sat speechless. Fighters in the crowd shook their heads. Dakota Ditcheva had just made one of the toughest flyweights in the world look helpless. She had done what even UFC champions couldn't do. She dominated Taila Santos from start to finish. At only 25 years old, Dakota was no longer a prospect. She was the future. From knocking out seasoned fighters to out-grappling grapplers and shutting down veterans, she had answered every question and silenced every critic. They said she was too inexperienced, too young, too pretty, too untested. Now they call her champion. And everyone is watching what she will do next.